So I'm so happy to have Regina Warren with us today, and she is going to talk to us about finances. So give Regina a big round of applause.
This is the thing, and then some of you probably already know why I feel like I need to yell like a drill sergeant, because I'm in the military as a reservist, 24 years. So if I start yelling at you and I start doing like this, but I'm also a mom of 4 boys, ages 17, 14, 9. I know that I look like I'm 12. I'm in my 40s. My career actually started in the military as soon as I graduated from high school and went straight to basic training. And then from there, I did finance in the military. So I took care of soldiers and their retirement pay, make sure they were in the right TSP. I made sure that they received the entitlements that they were entitled to while they were deployed. Of course, we all know how it feels here in the States to not have our finances together. Imagine going overseas and you have a complex of other issues, right? Of course, mission, of course, losing loved ones while you're downrange, and your finances are messed up back home. So that was my job, is to make sure those soldiers understood what they were entitled to and gave them everything that they deserved. Help them strategize too. With the pay that we received in the military, a lot of times we misuse it, right? One of the reasons why you may see some who are homeless now, veterans, of course, but that's also a combination of just mental illness as well. So please keep your soldiers, those that you know that are in the service, regardless if they're Army or not, Coast Guard, cyberspace, all of us really need your support. So I do advocate for that. I'm also advocating because I am retiring this year. So 25 years, and it's time to really shift focus to the kids a little bit more as I'm a dual citizen. So I do my walk in a month, 2 weeks a year, but I also have been to Afghanistan, Iraq, Germany, and several other places. Oh, it's a fun joke, heard it with that. So my next phase of my finance took me to DFAS, Defense Finance and Accounting Service. I worked there for 11 years. Came in as a GS7 and made it all the way up to a GS11. If you know government, 15 is the highest, 12 before I actually left. Was offered 13, but decided to leave to do my own practice and help citizens with their financial planning. There, while I was there was this lovely older lady, and we took care of, yes, soldiers and other military members, but we took care of the secret squirrel too. And so Bob, is usually what we call all of them, came in one time and was like, hey, little old lady, could you please help me with my pay? And she was like, okay, no problem. So she looked at his resume and was like, all these different amazing countries he'd been to. It was a whole 20 lists of all these countries, right? And she was like, oh wow, you must speak a lot of languages. She was like, ma'am, we don't go there to talk. I was like, oh, that was the future. You'll get that on the way home. So today we are going to talk about how to unlock your financial power. And Brandon did an amazing job earlier today talking about buckets and all the things. So please revisit and watch the recording for sure. And I know yesterday there were some talks about debt management and things like that. And I know Sherry's probably going to talk a little bit later about taxes. As you can see, it takes a community. It's not just one person that can do all the things. All of us come together with a lot of different experiences and a lot of different strategies on how to help you specifically. So my first ask of you is to make sure you do a little research, talk to the people, get to know them. You should know a couple of people, and that's on the handout there. On the handout there, it shows you as the business owner, since this is the VIP Center for Business Women, you as the business owner should be surrounded by a couple of people. Financial advisor for strategy, right? An accountant for, of course, taxes, bookkeeping, accounts receivable. Figure out what the accountant specializes in, because I've realized that accountants do different things, right? CPAs, all the things. Just make sure you interview them, know what you need. The other one that's on there is your attorney, right? So it could be a state attorney. It could be just an ordinary legal attorney for your business, which is very important as well. And then the last one on there is banker. Banker is important. Why do you need a financial advisor and a banker? Because I do not loan money. It's different, okay? Once you get the loan, I can tell you what to do with that. However, I do not give you loans. Now, yeah, I'm the sole proprietor, contractor with Northwest Mutual, right? Top Fortune 100 company, great, awesome, has different subsidiaries, amazing. They have banking, they have all kinds of other stuff. However, you as a person, not a same client, as a person, you should be able to shop around and figure out what's best for you. So make sure you understand who you're working with, and you should be able to talk to them at least once or twice a year, okay? It's my first thing. To unlock your power, you have to know your options. One of the issues that we had in the financial community is everyone feels like they have to do everything with one person, and to me, that's false, okay? I do want to Target every now and again, and Walmart every now and again, and Amazon every now and again, because a lot of it is in one place. It's great. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is, just like you go to the doctor, and as women, we probably should do this quite a bit, health things come up, and instead of just hearing it from that one doctor, maybe I can ask questions to other doctors to see what my diagnosis should be to get a better understanding. Unfortunately, as women, we've been strung aside when it comes to medicine, and we've been told just one thing. That one thing can lead to a whole lot of issues if we did get second opinions. So that's why I'm saying in the financial industry, make sure you have a community around you that is just willing to give you answers. Is that clear? Mm-hmm. Okay, now, I said I was a drill sergeant, but I'm also a basketball mom. And my husband is the center, so I'm the coach. So just in case I talk to you like this, I apologize. But you guys are all used to it. We're all nurturers at some point. So one of the things that we talked about earlier was about goals. Before I jump too deep into short-term, mid-term, long-term goals, I want to know what you want to get out of this conversation. To me, that's a goal that you have. So I want to listen to that. So we're going to do popcorn. I need you to tell me, what do you want to get out of this financial conversation? What do you want me to actually give to you today? I have a whole agenda, and I'm ready to go through it. And I'll probably touch on a lot of what you already want to know. But I want to make sure that when you walk back out this door, you have something that you actually see from today's conversation. So, with that said, what do you want me to focus on today, or at least cover? What financial questions do you have you felt as if I needed to ask a licensed, registered, yes,
What's really enough, let's say, because I'm not a young one in the room, what's really enough to get you through a month when you think about what kind of income you're going to need? Does that make sense?
like budgeting?
Like, what's it going to take when we're not working, when we...
Oh, okay, so retirement. Yes, how do we come up with that, but specifically, I love that. So we talked a little bit earlier about the average of what average American makes or expenses. And so 6,000 is for Indiana, is the average living expense here in Indiana. When you think about that, that should include your basics expenses, your living expenses. These are things that you need to pay regardless. In the military, we call it beans, bullets, and meds, okay? So these are the things that you need to survive, okay? We call those living expenses or fixed expenses. Those are the first things that you put on your budget sheet. Some institutions say 50, 30, 20 for budgeting and figuring out what your budget should have, where your money should go, right, in order to live in America. I would step further and say, I'm going to say 60, 20, 20, and this is why. Because a lot of times people confuse the variable income between the fixed income, right? Which isn't a problem. The whole point of it is the concept. 60% should go to, or 50%, 50, 60, we'll talk about it specifically because each person is different, but it's a formula to it. 60% of it goes to your living or fixed expenses. 20% goes to your saving and investing, and then there's buckets for that. My buckets are a little bit different. And then 20% goes to the youth fund. I think Ms. Deborah said that earlier. The youth fund, these are the things you like to do. And entertainment, streaming, all the things to live life. Now, when we talk about retirement, people forget about medical expenses. When we work in corporate America, we get all these benefits, right? And to be honest with you, even if you do work in corporate America, you're missing some of those, okay? Just don't think they're all there. Don't think that they're all supplying to you, because they're not. There's some other things. So in retirement, you need to factor in medical care, okay? You also need to start thinking about long-term care insurance, honestly, before you even retire, okay? Because by the time they would retire, and most people know this, especially if we stop and slow down, now our bodies start to stop and slow down. Then as women, we have a high number of women who have autoimmune diseases that develop from 40 on up anyway. So we really need that medical care. So by the time I step away for retirement, I should not have to worry about those things. I should have prepared for those things. Let's say you didn't prepare for those things. There's still options for you. Earlier I said the biggest thing ever that you're gonna get from this is the options. What else we got?
Without Wi-Fi.
Give it to me, give it to me. Give it to me. As they come up, just yell at me, okay? Because I want to make sure you walk away with something from today's conversation.
I got one for you.
Give me 1 second. Yes, ma'am.
In order to have that, you said 6,000 a month approximately, what kind of contributions are you looking at to achieve that retirement goal?
Absolutely. So it depends on when you start.
I get it.
Us financial advisors like to answer with a non-answer.
Yes. Let me give you a definite answer to it, because I know this is why I said it depends on when you start. Well, right? And it's very tiny, so we'll make sure that it's sent out. I think Miss Amanda sends them out the next day or so. But on this slide here, okay, says from age 25 to 65, person who's given it's about $100 starting out when you're that young. So as I'm telling you these things, I know we're all like in our elder years. Again, I'm 12. But if we go home, tell those adult children, tell those 17-year-olds that are starting to work and get W-2 pay, right? They come home and say, who's FICA? Why are you taking all my money? When they start asking those questions, tell them that's when they need to start putting money into whatever retirement vehicle they're going to use. But let's say you didn't start until you were 40 to 65. If you give the same amount as you told that 20-year-old, you're not going to have as much. Because your time horizon is actually a lot shorter. Okay? So then you work with someone who can come up with the formula, because it's science to this thing. We don't just arbitrarily give you numbers. Okay? It's a whole science to this. And each person is different. Because even if I were to say, what's your age? And you tell me it's whatever, between 40 to 65, and I say, okay, then that means you need to put $1,000 away. You're like, oh my God. What is that? Now, but if you received an inheritance, right, from someone, God forbid, that passed away and left behind life insurance and that gave you money, then maybe doing a compounding interest this way is probably not the best way. Maybe it's an annuity. So there's so many different variations to get there. So to answer your question specifically, it really will require us to sit down. Or sit down with Brittany, or sit down with Sherry. Like, whoever it is, sit down and have the conversation with them so they can give you a formula, okay? What else we got? Perfect. Now you may skip through the whole presentation. But that's okay, because I do want to answer your questions. I really do. I want you to walk away with something. Short-term, mid-term, long-term goals. We know that best. A lot of us know that. We know, we get it. The problem is what we don't get is the reason why it's important to write down short-term, mid-term, long-term goals, because there's this thing called a 4-bucket system. And my 4-bucket system is short-term, yes. Mid-term, yes. Long-term, yes. 4th one is your pure retirement. And I'm telling that to 17-year-olds. And they still need a custodian on their account because they're under 18. But I'd rather them start as early as possible. Them getting paid maybe $500, $600 a month can eat. They don't have nothing. I mean, what else are they? What is this? I opened up this is why I got so passionate about kids, was I opened up, my husband and I own a popcorn shop in Castleton Mall. The kid's been working for that since the oldest is 14. He's 17 now, but he started when he was 14. He's my kid, no child labor law, so don't tell on me. But with that said, he went home and bought a whole drawer of Mike and Ike's. I saw tropical flavor, I saw the regular, I saw the sap. I was like, oh my, really? What's what we doing? Okay, let's step back. So that's why it's important to figure out these buckets early. Short-term goal is, it's usually things that are gonna happen within the first year from today to a year, 12 months from now. Midterm, things are about 2 years or more, okay? About 2 to 5. The long term is 10 years, okay? And then pure retirement, of course, time horizon. So it depends on when you reach 59 and a half. I have a friend, I told you I don't like calling clients. I have a friend that actually, she's ready for retirement, 62, and was like, I'm about to leave this government job. And she was like, because of the environment, all the things that are going on, she was actually one of the ones that were affected by it, but luckily she had her retirement already set up so she can take the package that they offered. So it's a blessing for her. However, her and I both shared some tears with other government employees, and remember I said I was for 11 years. So I get it. But she looked at her account and it was sitting at, instead of 1.6, it was down to 1.3 million in her TSP, and she's supposed to retire like this month. And she's pissed. That's her TSP. Okay? That's her TSP. So it doesn't mean that you need to have everything in the market. You need to figure out what your philosophies are. That's one of the things that we can talk about as well. What I want you to realize though is there are challenges that we face in order to navigate these, such as, yeah, we know that of course our dollar compared to the male dollar is a little bit different. There's a weighted a lot heavier than ours. Got it. It's one challenge that we have. The other one is we're nurturers. We love to take care of other people. And I think Miss Rita talked about earlier about the burdens that we pick up from other people. Sometimes that's a financial burden of other persons. It could be, I'm in my 40s, my parents are a little bit older now, so yep, taking care of them and also taking care of my own kids. I told you I had a 6-year-old because it's a little expensive. Oh, actually my 17-year-old is more expensive. Wow, how did that? Okay. I had to talk to him. So challenge 3 is we live longer, and we've all heard that before. So I think that's just God's gift to us because we're such good caregivers. So that being said, how do we navigate that? That's when we start those buckets early. And since we are nurturers, I actually, again, to go home and talk to those that you love, the ones that are younger than you, to make sure that they're actually doing the right things early. This is the statistics. I'm not going to stay here too long. But I want you to understand that we get it. In the financial institutions, like we get it, okay? Did you know though, that there is going to be a wealth transfer here soon? Anybody heard of it? Yes, the great transfer. Anybody heard of it? Yes. Yes, tell me what you've heard of it. You said you heard of it?
Yeah.
Yeah, tell me about it.
Women will be controlling over, it's even up over 75% now. It's even higher than that of all the money.
Yep. It's about
in the next less than 10 years, correct?
Yep, absolutely. Yes, ma'am.
I was saying, I know that 1% of the money is controlled by, 90% of the money is controlled by 1% of the population.
Oh, yeah, well, yeah, that's another part too. I know we usually fight over the small resources, but there are several trillions of dollars. And sometimes I don't even know what to do with it. If you look at it, sometimes it's our developers that are in the community, which is pretty interesting. But they have women in their lives. And a lot of them are a lot older, like 80s, things like that. But it's the baby boomers, right? The baby boomers. And this is going to happen primarily 2030 to 2048. You'll see a significant, almost 50% more than 2020. So women, you're talking about trillions of dollars that women are going to be managing. However, a lot of women are very conservative. And so having that money, even though we like to spend and we like to shop and all the things, but at the same time, we would rather spend instead of put that into the market because of the risk. Okay. But that's just miseducation. That means you need to get with somebody, those people on that little chart that I gave you, and ask questions. How do I manage money? Because by the time I get that inheritance of those people that actually have, because if you think about it, and a lot of us know several people who are really good with money, they have insurances and they have investments, and sometimes they keep the investments invested and loan against it because that's how smart they are with money. However, when they leave that money to you, there's other things like estate taxes, charity, gift tax, right? So making sure you understand estate planning is very important. Oh, I like this slide. When it comes to money, it's a very intimate topic. Very intimate. Very intimate. it's so intimate to where, have you ever heard anyone say, follow the money, you'll know what their priorities are?
Yeah.
Right. So if I look at your bank account and I see that 80% of the money that you made went to food, that may be your priorities, right? But then if you told me that your short-term, mid-term, long-term goal had nothing to do with food, now I'm telling you, we need to realign the priorities. Okay? Because right now your bank account is showing me other than that. When it comes to money, people want to disassociate the fact that it's an emotional state as well. When we're stressed out, and someone said it earlier, we like to spend because it releases absolutely. So if I'm stressed, I'm going to spend, even though I don't want to. Even though I don't want to, and I know that I shouldn't. This is a problem because we do it quite a bit, but I'll tell you how to avoid that. You avoid it by one setting goals, going back to the short-term, mid-term, long-term goals. Okay? We manage risk. Remember I said that was one of the issues that a lot of women have when it comes to investments. I don't want to invest because I feel like it's risky. So when I said I feel like it's gambling, right?
I said that.
Yeah.
I think it's legalized gambling.
I feel like it's gambling. And I'm going to actually debunk that here in a second. Let me debunk that for you. You guys already talked about debt management. This is one of the things that's near and dear to me as well. When it talks about risk management. Risk management, does anybody have disability insurance out? Why? Just
In case I get hit by a bus.
For the what ifs and the what ifs.
So what ifs? Okay, we gotta talk about it. Yes?
I was just gonna say that when I worked, I had short-term disability in place at all times, and I was so glad I did because I had a few different surgeries while I was employed there.
Yeah.
And that came in.
Absolutely. A lot of people leave that out of their plan, and it's a big failure point. We usually run to the investments because we think that's what we're supposed to do, and we most likely do investments for retirement. But you can also have a non-qualified account too. A non-qualified account is just not a retirement account. Gives you more flexibility, okay? So it's good to have a multitude of things in your financial plan, but for the right reason, not just to get, Ernie and I were talking earlier about other advisors that are not like us, but they're big salespeople. They sell, but that's why I said, do you have that? Do you have disability? But why? Because you should be able to answer why. Does that make sense? Don't just get something and hear an advisor and they say, why this and this, and you're like, okay, and it may not even be suitable for you. Some annuities, you can put money into it, however, there's a timeline to get the money out. But if there's a sell, they didn't explain that to you. So make sure you understand what you're doing when you do it, all right? This is how we unlock our financial power. There's several different options to get to retirement, and we talked about it earlier, right? Yes, you could do a 401k. If you have a W-2, most employers are offering 401ks. If you're a business owner and you're blessed to be in a position to have retirement plans for your employees, you can actually offer them something that's similar to a 401k, okay? Which is absolutely awesome, absolutely. And Sherry will tell you that's probably best for your taxes anyway, right? So it's not only beneficial for you to build your own team and put money into your human capital, right?
Yeah.
Which is really good. But now you're setting them up for success because you as a business owner create a retirement group plan, okay? And so Brandy and I are people that can actually put those together. People usually think about when you're a business woman, a woman of business, you should be thinking about, yes, yourself, put your mask on first, but then you need to take care of your team. Because how expensive is it to do turnover? How expensive? Very. Because now I have to retrain them, and then it's a time lapse from me selling whatever widget or service that I provide, right? So you want to make sure that you have things in place to actually take care of the people that take care of you and your business and your dream and your baby. Does that make sense? So that's just retirement planning. What about group insurance? What about group disability? Because as women, some of us can nurture or have babies, regardless, and we also have a high probability of autoimmune diseases as well. So I want to make sure that anyone that's on my team is taken care of with whatever insurances that are available. Not only that, but guess what? Sherry will love you because it also can be a tax deductible as well.
Employee benefits are a big tax deduction as well as, I always talk to my small business clients when I'm trying to help them lower their tax footprint and say, people work for the money, but they stay for the benefits. So if you're talking to these other team members, these other people like Brandy and, I'm sorry,
Regina, yeah.
Regina. Yeah, so talk to financial planners and set up that self-employed 401k or SEP plan or however you want to do it. But that's gonna help you keep the talent in your business. But it's an investment in your human capital.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. So, yes, take care of yourself and then make sure you take care of those that are taking care of you and your baby. Can you separate the two? Yes, you can do personal planning and you can do business planning. I suggest probably getting yourself together and then getting your business together, okay? That sheet that's on there, within that circle are all the things that I do. All the things. A lot of people assume that me and Brandy were talking about it when Northwest Mutual I started as an insurance company. It's a 160-something-year-old company. So it started as an insurance company. So the perception is that we're all insurance agents, but I promise you, I hate insurance.
Luckily, there aren't any in here.
I love you though. Pushy salespeople. Because they were pushing term insurance and did not leave a lot of education, and then they expired, and then people expired, and then they did not get their term insurance. Why? Because underwriting said that it was term, but we didn't receive the education. So you have this person who paid into it for 20 years and then died at the 21st or 22nd year and did not receive their money. To me, that's frustrating.
That's a theft, actually. It feels like.
It's terrible.
Yeah.
It's terrible. So when you're thinking about investments, and I'm gonna wrap it up, I'm so sorry. I was getting excited.
All good.
Because y'all know I can talk about numbers all day. Investment considerations, these are the things you should be asking. What is your timeline? When you do feel like you're gonna withdraw, what is the formula? There is a formula. Right now, it was 4%, it has now went down to 3% for several reasons, okay? And we can talk about those individually, but it's 3%. How much should you save when you get to retirement? What is that number? It should be, yes, do a budget sheet to make sure, yes, this is what my current budget is, but what is gonna be my budget when I retire? Do not exclude medical insurance, because a lot of people do. Okay, once you know what that number is and what it is for the year, what salary you need to make in retirement for that year, times it by 3. That is your minimum number that you should have by the time you say, I'm done with this job. Okay, so if your number is, I need to live on $70,000 for that year, times that by 3, and that's the number you need to have by the time you walk out the door. Okay, now when it's time to take it out, you only take out 3 to 4%, figuring out whatever your situation is. Now, Social Security. We hope it's going to be here. And to be honest with you, experts are saying that it is going to be here. How much it's going to be is the problem. Okay, so Social Security is going to be here. However, we don't know how much. Okay, should you take it out at 62? Look at your Social Security statement. It's ssa.gov. Go get your Social Security statement and look at it, because it will tell you how much you can get at 62, at 67, and at 70. Right? It will tell you. The longer you wait, the more you receive. Okay? Pensions are far in between, but some of them are taxed. So just make sure you understand your situation. Also, life insurance. When you was in your, let's talk about term. When you're in your W-2, they're giving you most likely term, right? When you leave that job, there's no more insurance. Now, as a Army person, they're giving me term insurance just like they're giving it to you. What I did was I actually got an additional whole life policy because there's other things going on in there, okay? As part of one of the 4 buckets that I talk about as well. I'm not gonna talk about my buckets because I don't want to conflict with Brandy, but it's one of the 4 buckets. I'm going to stop it here. I wanted to give you some more education on what investments look like in assets and things and what the makeup is. If you say that you're conservative, just means that you have more fixed income like bonds. But if you say you're aggressive, it means you have more equity like stock. Okay. So that's all that means. Now, you have to figure out what that formula is. Talk to all of these amazing financial people. Okay. Okay. I gotta go. I wanna keep going. Thank you so much for allowing me in your space today.